Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review and back into the Land Before Time franchise. And like I said, now we're moving on to Land Before Time Part 10. The Great Longneck Migration. Um, released in December 2003. The next year after the other ones. Most of them have released about a year afterwards, you know. So, this one, as like I said, this is the 10th entrance in the franchise. And this is also the first time that the soundtrack is not composed by James Horner, which I didn't mention in my previous review, because number 9 was the last soundtrack to be made by James Horner, who did the music score for the first film, which I didn't mention in the previous review, so I put it down below in that previous review, you know. So yeah, that's why I didn't mention. So I wanted to mention. So this is the first film that the soundtrack's not made by James Horner, you know. All of the cast come back except for Thomas Dekker. He now no longer voices Littlefoot. So this one voiced by Alec Medlock, who now takes over the voice as Littlefoot. But all the same cast as the others still are still the same. So, and this one has also been what people like ratings on IMDb and on Rotten Tomatoes, you know. This one has had much more better ratings than all the other previous films, you know. Like on IMDb, this one has a 6.0 on IMDb, you know, and on Rotten Tomatoes, audience rated as up to 58%. They're 58% on Rotten Tomatoes. What audience rated, you know. So this one got more high ratings than the other previous films, you know. But so yeah, so this one, so people consider one of the better ones later on in this franchise, you know. So, and also not also maybe because the reason because to get a few three special voice casts, you know, in this film, which I'll get to. So the story opens up, you know, and also once again Charles Grosvenor returns to directing. You know, he's still directing he's still directing, you know, the next films of the franchise, you know. But into the story that opens up with with Littlefoot having nightmares, you know, like he sees the Great Circle, you know, and he sees like all Longnecks are like all floating past him, you know, and he's floating up there with them too, you know, and he's like having nightmares, if you would call them nightmares, you know. But then it looks like things went wrong, you know, when he wakes up, you know, and it asks his grandparents, and they too been having like the same kind of visions, you know, and so like on the next day, they tells them that that's they feel like they have to go somewhere, like where all other Longnecks have to, you know. So, but they don't know where they're going though. But they like tell like their instincts, let their instincts tell them where to go, you know. So Littlefoot and his grandparents, they all leave. They leave the Great Valley, you know, and then his friends, you know, his other friends, you know, they have to stay, and though as they leave, you know, and which later on, that's when like the night Sarah, she can't sleep because she wondering where he went, you know. So he gets so like in the middle of the night he wakes the others up, so they go off to find him, you know, where they gone, you know. So as on their journey, you know, like they come across Littlefoot and his grandparents. They come across a swamp, you know, and he goes and jumps on some stepping stones. And he was about to there's like a shark, well, another one of those crocodile like dinosaurs, you know, like Dinosuchus, you know, like the one in from Part 4, Journey Through the Mists. Is about to nab him, but then a female Longneck steps on him, you know, by the name of Sue, you know, and this one is one of the voices. The one of the voices Sue is, her name is Bernadette, how her first name is pronounced, but like Bernadette Peters, you know, she's also not only an actress, but she's also more on a singer, you know. Firstly, I'm not too familiar with this with this actress, you know. I'm not that very all familiar with her, but she's won awards, you know. She's like more like a stage actress and appeared in television episodes and other films and a singer has albums, you know. But I'm not very all familiar with this actress, but she did appear in films like Annie. She won a Golden Globe for Best Actress for Pennies from Heaven. She was also in at the anime film the Don Bluth film Anastasia. She was also in Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas, Snow Days, Barney's A Great Adventure, and even recently voiced in the anime film that came out this year, Legends of Oz, Dorothy's Return, you know. So I'm not all too familiar with her, so. But the other ones I really do know. But I just want to say she voices Sue, so she steps on the Dinosuchus, you know, and tells her can she come along with them. They say okay. And as they're going, as they're journey, they're to show them they're traveling all this long distance, you know, through all different areas, you know, and as soon they're drawn by other long necks, you know, until they reach their destination, which is like this like this big gigantic crater, you know, that has a bunch of you know, life inside, you know, like water and trees and stuff in it, you know. And as soon as they get there, he meets this younger Longneck that's like him named Shorty, you know. And you know, he's like he starts to act who's been acting so rude to him, you know, like when he first meets him, he purposely trips him, you know, until he meets this other Longneck by the name of Bron, which you find out reveal that it's Littlefoot's father, you know, and which he didn't recognize at first until Grandpa Long tells him, "Oh, it's Bron," and tells Littlefoot, "This is your father," you know, and shocked by this is his father, he goes and runs off, you know. And Bron is what I think I enjoyed this film is because Bron, Littlefoot's father, is voiced by Kiefer Sutherland. Kiefer Sutherland, which from the show 24, other films, Phone Booth, Time to Kill, which I loved him in Monsters vs. Aliens, which he voiced General Monger. He's been a lot of films, you know. Which Kiefer Sutherland, the son of veteran actor Donald Sutherland, you know. But Kiefer Sutherland, he's been in a lot of films, you know, Flatliners, you know, I just can't think of it, but everyone knows who Kiefer Sutherland. He's been in a lot of films, you know. Just naming a few, you know. So he voices Littlefoot's father, Bron. But he tells Littlefoot, you know, that when he was with his mother at the time, you know, and before Littlefoot hatched him, he set off to find a new place, and then the earthquake, you know. The earthquake happened and everything was destroyed, you know. And then we learned that later learned that his mother fought off the sharp tooth, you know. And this is where he first meets Shorty, you know, and all these other Longnecks joined him, thinking that he'll ends up becoming the leader of this herd, you know. So, but he says he's finally he finally got a chance to meet his son for the first time, you know. And so is Littlefoot, you know. He's very happy that he finally got to meet his father, you know. And while that's going on, as Sarah, Ducky, Petrie, and Spike, you know, as they're going along, you know, they go across the same river, you know, the same swamp, you know. I thought this was funny, like, as they're going across the stones, and they say which one should they jump next to, you know. Should they jump to the one that's farthest, or this one that looks, like, the stone next to them, which is where that Dinosuchus is. It's hiding, like, you know, it's his head above water, but they don't see it yet. You know, they're thinking it's a stone, you know, and he's just like waiting for them to jump onto him so that he can pounce and eat and grab them, you know. But they're both arguing on what stone, what to go next to, and you see him that he's getting really angry and impatient, you know, frustrated that they're not making up their minds, you know. I thought that was funny, you know, how he's just getting angry because they're arguing when the stone to jump to. So he's just like, oh, forget this, and he goes and attacks them, you know. At one point he had Petrie in his mouth, but then an empty tree trunk falls on top of him, really, you know. And then as they get across, finally get across the swamp, they decide to take a rest, you know. But the next morning, as they do, you know, they all get up, and Spike is snoring though, and when Sarah thinks he was snoring again, but he was already up. They said that this boulder they were laying next to is not really a boulder, so they were sleeping next to a sleeping sharp tooth, you know. So they run away and they fall into this small cavern. They lose them, but then things coming back. But really, it's another Longneck, a lone Longneck, by the name of Pat, and says that he's gone, you know, so they can be on their way, you know. But and the next one is the voice of Pat, you know. This Longneck is voiced by the late James Garner, you know, James Garner, who just recently passed away, who not too long ago, you know. So James Garner, he voices Pat in this film, you know. May he rest in peace, you know. And this is why I enjoy the film, because maybe because this film got much more better ratings, because the few celebrity voice cast in this, you know, James Garner, Kiefer Sutherland, you know, and Bernadette Peters, I guess, you know. So yeah, maybe this film got much more better ratings because the better voice casting that's in this film, maybe. So yeah, and I'm gonna stop right here because this one's gonna take it into a second part, you know. Which I always try to do my best, try to make it all into one video, but I have to, but I can't though. So this is gonna take into another part. So hope you enjoyed part 1. So enjoy next into part 2 of this review. So stay tuned.